The brilliant lights of the Hollywood studio beamed down like artificial suns, casting a warm and energetic glow over the polished stage where history, romance, and a healthy dose of good-natured teasing were about to unfold. The air was thick with anticipation, filled with the low hum of an eager audience waiting for the cameras to roll on another delightful episode of the Newlyweds game. This was the place where young love was put to the ultimate test, not through hardships or tragedies, but through the unpredictable and hilarious labyrinth of shared memories, domestic quirks, and the eternal question of how well two people truly knew each other after walking down the aisle. Behind the colorful podiums stood 4 young couples, each representing a different stage of early marital bliss, their faces a mix of nervous excitement and confident smiles. There was couple number 1, who had been sharing their lives as husband and wife for 16 months, the charming Krista and her husband Dustin Hoffman. Right next to them stood couple number 2, Maddie and Ira Chapman, who had reached the milestone of 10.5 months of marriage. Then came couple number 3, Tina and Kevin Feeney, married for just 3.5 months and still wrapped in the fresh glow of the honeymoon phase. Finally, occupying the 4th podium were Malika and Ray Davis, a vibrant pair celebrating 12 months of matrimonial partnership. The music swelled, a catchy and upbeat melody that signaled the arrival of the man who held the keys to this laboratory of love. Out stepped the star of the Newlywed Game himself, Bob Eubanks, wearing his trademark welcoming smile and radiating the effortless charisma of a seasoned host who knew exactly how to coax the funniest truths out of his contestants. The audience erupted into enthusiastic applause as Bob took his place center stage, waving warmly to the crowd. "Thank you," Bob said, his voice booming with genuine warmth. "Hello, thank you, everybody. Welcome to the Newlywed Game, and a special hello to all of our couples over there. How are you guys? You ready to have some fun?" A chorus of enthusiastic affirmations rose from the couples, their nerves beginning to melt away under Bob's genial guidance. "All right, then, ladies," Bob announced, gesturing toward the wings of the stage. "It is time for you to head off to our soundproof room." With waves and parting glances, the 4 wives filed off the stage, leaving their husbands alone in the spotlight. Bob turned his attention back to the gentleman, a mischievous glint in his eye as he prepared to lay down the rules of the opening round. "All right, while the ladies are leaving, gentlemen, I want to remind you of a couple of things," Bob said, leaning slightly against his podium. "I am going to be asking you some 5-point questions. You will be answering these questions as you predict your wife will answer the same question when she returns. Now, if her answer matches your prediction, you then get 5 points. And remember, it is the couple with the most points at the end of the show that wins a fabulous second honeymoon." The stakes were high, and the prize was sweet. A dream vacation hung in the balance, resting entirely on the husband's ability to read their wives' minds. "So the ladies are gone," Bob continued, looking down at his question cards with a grin. "And gentlemen, here is our first question for 5 points, and it is a good one, too. Gentlemen, which will your wife say is true? You look more like her ex-boyfriend, or she looks more like your ex-girlfriend?" The question hung in the air, an instant classic designed to stir up the playful ghosts of relationships past. Bob turned to the husband at podium number 4 first. "Ray, which is more true here?" Bob asked. Ray adjusted his stance, a confident smile spreading across his face as he thought about his answer. "Well, my wife always dated ugly guys, so I would have to say," Ray began, pausing for comedic effect as the audience let out a collective chuckle. "Well, she changed that when she married you, did she not?" Bob interjected smoothly, offering a complimentary lifeline. "Of course," Ray agreed without a moment of hesitation. "So she looks more like my ex-girlfriend." "She looks like your ex-girlfriend," Bob repeated, making sure the point was clear. "Was your ex-girlfriend pretty?" "Always," Ray replied proudly. "Yeah, all right," Bob smiled, turning his attention to the next young husband. Kevin. Kevin, representing the newest marriage on the stage, scratched his chin thoughtfully before delivering his verdict. "I am going to have to say she looks more like my ex-girlfriend," Kevin answered. "She looks more like your ex-girlfriend," Bob nodded, but then he noticed a sudden shift in Kevin's expression, a hint of realization that perhaps this answer carried more weight than initially thought. "B.A. boom, huh?" Bob teased. Well, Kevin admitted with a sheepish grin, she was her best friend. The studio audience gasped and laughed at the sudden twist. Bob feigned a look of comedic concern, looking off camera toward the crew. Oh, Bob said dryly. Would somebody call Kevin a cab? The laughter rippled through the studio as Kevin realized the potential domestic peril of his honest answer. Bob turned next to the senior statesman among the husbands, IRA. IRA, Bob asked, what is your prediction? IRA sighed softly, a gentleman of experience who wanted to navigate these waters carefully. I wished I could say that I could go further over to the family instead of the girlfriend, IRA began, his voice carrying a gentle cadence. But anyway, she just does not look like my ex-girlfriend. Okay, Bob guided him back to the specific options, but you look more like her ex-boyfriend, or does she look more like your ex-girlfriend? I would say one of her ex-boyfriends, IRA decided with a nod. Okay, so you look more like her ex-boyfriend, Bob confirmed. Yes, IRA replied. Thank you, Bob said, finalizing the answer on the scorecard before turning to the first podium. Okay. Dustin. Dustin Hoffman looked up, ready to lock in his answer for couple number 1. My ex-girlfriend, Dustin stated firmly. So, he looks more like your ex-girlfriend, Bob noted, wrapping up the first set of predictions. Thank you, fellas. Gentlemen, next question. Bob flipped to the next card, his smile widening as he read the prompt. This one required the husbands to think about the aesthetics and atmosphere of their shared domestic sanctuaries. What foreign country will your wife say your living room is most like? What foreign country is your living room most like? You think, Kevin? Kevin chuckled, thinking about the state of his home after only 3.5 months of marriage. I am going to say Iran, because it is just a mess, Kevin answered, bursting into a hearty laugh at his own joke. Ha 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 ha. Ha 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 ha. Bob watched him with an amused expression. Okay, Bob smiled. I like a guy who applauds his own answer. IRA, what foreign country does your living room look most like? IRA paused, his mind wandering across the globe as he searched for the right geographical comparison. What does the United States of America look like? IRA mused aloud, before offering, Europe. Europe, Bob corrected gently. No. Give me a specific country. IRA hesitated, trying to pin down a single nation. Any time, IRA, Bob urged humorously, feeling the seconds tick away. Just give me a foreign country, IRA. I think, IRA mumbled, searching his thoughts. Okay, I will go with, Japan. Japan, okay, Bob nodded, writing it down. Europe. Okay, I will take Japan. Dustin, what about you? Dustin did not need much time to think about the order and structure of his household. Germany, Dustin answered confidently. Germany, Bob repeated. Yes. Ray, you are up. Africa, Ray offered. Be more specific than Africa, Bob prompted, reminding him that Africa was an entire continent. South Africa, Ray clarified quickly. South Africa, fine, Bob said, turning the page to the final question of this opening round. Here is the last of our 5-point questions. Gentlemen, how will your wife say you would complete this sentence? Now, this is you talking. My wife would be a whole lot sexier if her blank wiggled more and her what wiggled less. The studio audience erupted in giggles at the playful nature of the question. It was a classic test of physical appreciation and diplomacy. IRA, Bob began, pointing his cue card toward the husband of couple number 2. She would be a whole lot sexier if her what wiggled more and her what wiggled less. So let us start with the more. She would be sexier if her what wiggled more. Her body, IRA answered broadly. Which part of the body? Bob pressed for specifics. The butties, IRA said, using a unique and endearing pronunciation that brought smiles to everyone's faces. Okay, if her butt wiggled more, Bob noted, and what wiggled less? Her hands, IRA replied. Her hands, all right, good, Bob nodded, moving down the line. Dustin, she would be a lot sexier if her blank wiggled more. The breasts wiggled more, Dustin answered honestly. And her what wiggled less? Her butt, Dustin concluded. Okay, fine, Bob said. Ray took a breath and offered his perspective on the matter. I would say if her hair wiggled more and if her buttocks wiggled less, Ray predicted. Wiggled less, Bob noted, locking it in. Okay, Kevin. Kevin looked like a man who knew he might be digging a deeper hole for himself, but he forged ahead anyway. I am gonna have to say if her butt wiggled more and her tummy wiggled less, Kevin said with a nervous chuckle. Wiggled less, yeah, Bob repeated, looking back toward the wings of the stage with a grin. Like I say, call Kevin a cab, please. Our gentlemen will be right back to reunite our newlyweds. We will see how well their husbands have predicted what their wives will say right after this message. The cameras faded to a commercial break, and the studio took a brief breath as the television monitors transitioned to a series of informative announcements for the viewers at home. The first announcement was one that many drivers knew all too well. You have all been there. All of a sudden, your check engine light comes on. Insurance covers your vehicle from accidents. But did you know it does not cover expensive breakdowns? If your manufacturer's warranty is expired or is about to run out, you will be on the hook for unexpected repairs. A broken air conditioning unit costs over $1,800. A transmission, over $3,000. And an engine, over $4,000. Breakdowns used to mean paying thousands out of pocket. Until now. As a mechanic, I always recommend my customers have an auto protection plan. You never know when a breakdown can strike and you need coverage you can count on. Endurance has been putting money back in Americans' pockets for nearly 2 decades. And their plans are crafted by real auto experts like me. That's why they are the only company I trust. No matter how many miles your car has, if it is under 20 years old, Endurance has you covered. That means insurance plus endurance equals total protection. If you break down, just choose the local repair shop you trust. Endurance pays them directly. No complicated paperwork, no checks in the mail. Endurance takes care of all of it for you. Your plan even covers 24/7 roadside assistance. If you break down, Endurance jumps your battery, tows, delivers gas, changes a flat, unlocks your car, and more. Call now, and we will upgrade you to an Endurance Elite membership free with thousands of dollars of benefits at no extra cost. Endurance is the #1 trusted expert in vehicle protection, recommended by Consumer Affairs and highly rated by customers on major review sites. We offer affordable down payments, low monthly plans, flexible terms, and a money-back guarantee. At Endurance, we administer our own plans, meaning no middleman and no runaround. So do not drive another second without auto protection from the experts at Endurance. Call 800-331-9042 for a free price quote. That is 800-331-9042. As that segment concluded, the screen shifted to another helpful resource for the audience, focusing on healthcare options for seniors. A $0 Medicare Advantage plan that includes the following benefits: dental care, including fillings, exams, and dentures, vision care, including exams, frames, lenses, and even contacts, hearing care, including hearing aids and batteries, and $0 prescription drug coverage plans, all at no additional cost to you. Go Medicare is open now. Just call the Go Medicare Benefits Help Center at 800-856-8269. Both the call and the consultation are 100% free with absolutely no obligation to enroll. That is 800-856-8269. Call Go Medicare now because you may be eligible to receive up to $148 back on your Social Security check every month. And you might also qualify for a $0 Medicare Advantage plan that includes the following benefits: dental care, including fillings, exams, and dentures, vision care, including exams, frames, lenses, and even contacts, hearing care, including hearing aids and batteries, and $0 prescription drug coverage plans, all at no additional cost to you. Just call the Go Medicare Benefits Help Center at 800-856-8269. That is 800-856-8269. Go Medicare is open now. Both the call and the consultation are 100% free with absolutely no obligation to enroll. Go Medicare is open now at 800-856-8269. That is 800-856-8269. Go Medicare, we get you more benefits. The studio lights flared back to life as the stage manager counted down from 5, and the energetic theme music welcomed the audience back to the main event. Bob Eubanks stood center stage, surrounded by the 4 husbands, as the 4 wives walked back out to join their partners, the air filled with happy greetings and gentle whispers as the couples reunited. "And welcome back to the Newlywed Game," Bob announced warmly to the camera. "Okay, gentlemen, we have recorded your predictions on cards. Now I have them in front of you on your laps. Every time that your prediction matches your wife's answer, you get 5 points. It is the couple with the most points at the end of the show that wins a great second honeymoon. And ladies, did we ever have some fun while you were gone? If you are ready, here is our first 5-point question. Girls, which is true? You look more like your husband's ex-girlfriend, or your husband looks more like your ex-boyfriend? The moment of truth had arrived. Bob turned to the First Lady at podium number 1. "Which is true here, Krista?" Krista smiled, tilting her head slightly as she considered the options. He looks like my ex," Krista stated. "He looks like your ex-boyfriend." Bob let out a soft laugh and shook his head, holding up the prediction card. "He said that absolutely you look like his ex-girlfriend," Bob revealed. Krista looked over at Dustin, mock offended. "I am bad," she joked. "Did your ex-boyfriend have hair like that?" Bob asked, gesturing to Dustin's unique hairstyle. "No," Krista laughed, "but I want nothing to do with his ex." "Well,